Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I'm a twin soul channel and Western astrologer, and this is a video about the full moon in Sagittarius occurring January 14th, 2022, 7:51 a.m. if you happen to live on the eastern seaboard of the United States. This is the Lightworker energy update. Please check your time zone, time converter for a local time in your time zone. This is a very interesting full moon. Full moon takes place here at the 23rd degree of Sagittarius, opposite Sun here. And normally I would say I'm all about this energy. I love the clarity. I love the conversations. I love seeing so much energy in air and in fire signs going on that's facilitating a lot of movement and action here in the third dimension, except I don't. And the reason why is because we have a hard square here to the full moon from the planet Neptune. Full moons are created when the sun and the moon oppose one another and the sun casts its light onto the moon. And when we get at a 90-degree angle a planet like Neptune, you know there's an influence. And the influence of Neptune brings confusion, it brings a lack of clarity, it brings a washing out to sea, that which has been built on the sand. For some, it can bring depression. For others, it can bring a heightened set of artistic ability and capacity to tap in and tune in. Artistically, spiritually, most often that comes with a harmonious aspect like a trine or a sextile, but this is a square. And the square is straight up interrupting the illumination that the full moon wants to bring from these two signs that are heavily thought and communication focused, Gemini and Sagittarius. And Neptune's going, nope, no clarity for you. Nope, confusion for you. Nope, deal with your illusions. Nope, figure out what's not being said, figure out what's being hidden beneath the surface. And so this constitutes in astrology what we would call a T square, where we have two planets 180 degrees apart from one another and one planet at the 90-degree mark in between them. Whenever I see a T square and in any one of the modes, this is a mutable T square. The answer for me is always in the sign that is conspicuous in its omission, and that's Virgo. There is no planetary placement in the sign of Virgo. So if we would like clarity, if we would like for communication to have we would like to remove here we go with Neptune. If we would like to remove confusion from communication and get your words out, you have to lean into Virgo energy. Virgo energy, Virgos can sometimes get a bad rap. Oh, they're so picky. Oh, Virgo energy is so detailed. Oh, Virgo energy is so persnickety. They're so perfectionistic. That's what's needed at this time. An ability to parse details, pay attention to them, an ability to pay attention to nuance, an ability to make decisions, rational, sound decisions, and an ability for discernment, to discern what is and what is not in your own world based on wherever you're focusing, wherever this energy is focused for you in your chart and in your counterpart's chart. I kept scratching my head this week, and session after session with my clients, the closer we got to this full moon, my clients kept coming in and having a lot of confusion in their connection with themselves at work when it came to, family dynamics. And we're wondering, well, where is the clarity? Why am I confused? And I kept scratching my head going, what is going on? And I was like, oh, this full moon is coming into position. And this full moon includes a period of time of complete lack of clarity. There's reason for this. There's divine purpose for this. When we have these periods of time where there is a lack of clarity, where there's confusion, where Neptune is doing the most to obscure that which is true, what we can find in these periods of time is a freedom to actually explore, a freedom to not be on the hook for knowing. And we get this energy of being able to hang out in the balance while universe, life, source, God, whomever you work with, brings forward some transformation, growth, and changes that then allow us to make a clearer commitment or have more grounded understanding in the days and weeks to follow. And so, because there's this energy right now of a question mark, of an energy of, I don't know. One day I feel this, the next day I feel that. Because that energy is in the air leading into this full moon and just after this full moon, it'll be a really good idea for a short period of time to just suspend, if you can. Clear, some of our lives just don't work this way. But if you can, to suspend major decision making, important conversations, and rehashing of things until the sun and the moon are at least in a very different position to Neptune here. And we're going to get that very quickly here in the next few weeks. We're going to get Sun in Cancer. Happy birthday to all the Cancers out there. Happy belated to all of the Geminis. And Moon in just a couple days is going to get here into Capricorn. And that will be great on the other side of this particular full moon. As we get to June 16th and 17th, you'll get more of the clarity energy that'll come from Moon in Cap and Moon in Aquarius. So if at the height of this full moon, you're just scratching your head or things seem unclear, know that behind the scenes, Source is working. There are some things going on that you may not be able to see, and that's okay. It's okay to not see. And it's okay to say, I don't have enough information to make a great decision right now. So I'm going to table this decision till X date and then return to it. That would be the soundest thing to do in this energy, because unfortunately, with an energy like this, what can happen with decisions made under an energy like this, relationship, work, family, home, or otherwise, the planets shift and some previously unknown piece of information that wouldn't have been accessible to you up to this point comes out, and it causes you to want to make a different decision. Or something that was just overlooked, which is very possible if Virgo energy is not something that you would say, oh, I'm really good at Virgoing. This is the period of time when I would hold. If you're really good at Virgoing, if you're a Virgo yourself, have a Virgo stellium, lots of Virgo placements, carry on with your life. This is probably just a little bit of tension for you. Could be more confusion than not, depending upon where in Virgo season you were born. The late Virgos probably are experiencing this most distinctly, the September born Virgos. But for those of you who are not, it's just not your energy. It's just not your vibe. You use this energy in a more creative way, more spiritual way. Delay on decisions and wait till the energy shifts. Wait till more information comes to light. It'll really help, especially with important communications. Because unfortunately, with this, you can find yourself going in circles in communication, trying to get to an answer, and it'll feel like you're trapped in a funhouse and you can't find the door. So just hang out, take some deep breaths, give yourself permission to not know, and allow new information to surface as we get into the coming weeks. Now, I was able to get this full moon video out ahead of time, thank God, because the closer we get to exact with this energy, the less clear I'm probably going to be. Virgo is not my strong suit. So I always end up attracting people who have like strong Virgo energy in their chart. So one of the things that I would say, if you were like, okay, I'm not really clear. I'm not sure about what I'm not seeing, but here's the dynamics in my life. And you're just trying to figure out like where in your chart this stuff is going to play out. Strongly recommend getting a reading. I have two 30-minute sessions available this coming week, the week of the full moon, one on Wednesday, one on Thursday. If you'd like to take them, you can book them over at kmoonastro.com. You can find the link below, or you can just type it into your browser window and grab one of those sessions. But this energy will be with us for a short period of time, at least until Sun moves into Cancer, when we're going to get a different vibe. So if you'd like to look into this energy, now's a great time to do that. The one way that this energy is definitely impacting me, I've noticed, is that I've been trying to come up with ideas for the last couple of weeks since the last lunation for this next season of Q&A with Kay. So it's an annual program that I have run in the summers, the last 2 summers in the Northern Hemisphere, that allows people to have a 4-week private mentorship with me and a small group of individuals where I do a little bit of teaching and then open Q&A and channeled guidance for 4 consecutive weeks. I'm scratching my head. I don't know what I should offer. So a period of time like this for me in this position can really be used to gather information from people like you. So if you've got an idea for Q&A with Kay, something you'd like to see me teach, mention it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas because it's coming up on time for me to launch that program, and I'd love to have you be a part of it. Okay, so let's get into some of the other energies that are here, because there's lots of other energies that are having its way with us. There's the energy of this full moon is very much, it's Shakespeare's what is it, A Midsummer Night's Dream, I think that's what it's called, where there's, you know, folly and fancy and, you know, all kinds of mischief and magic to this. And some of that is really brought forward by the major conjunction going on here. There's 2 of them. There's Uranus, Venus, and there's Chiron, Mars here. And so this is creating a bit of, for me, comedic relief. For some, not so much, but I think for most of us, there's this kind of like real want to move forward with Mars now finally in Aries. But when it's conjunct Chiron, what we have going on is this sensation of like, there's something wrong with my motor. There's something wrong with my car. Why won't my car start? Chiron can dredge up in Aries all the wounds to our I amness, our sense of rightness with self, value self, self-esteem, but more so just a sense of I'm not okay and I have to figure out how to fix me. And in some people's cases, they go as far as hide me because I can't show people the real me. Speaking with Mars in its home sign in this way, Mars gives us an added bit of motivation to deal with ourselves. Hallelujah. But what Mars also does when speaking with Chiron, because Chiron is the outer planet, meaning it's stronger, has more influence over the planet that's closer to the sun, that's Mars. What we have is Mars feeling a little bit under the weather, or it's like one of the lights. If for those of you who drive vehicles, you know, when your dashboard flashes certain lights, it's time to change the oil, rotate a tire. It's time to get your transmission checked. It's time to do certain things. And so it's a sense of a flashing light on the dashboard of your car that's letting you know for things to move further in your life, especially the area of life where Aries sits, and all the areas of life that are touched by Aries and challenged by Aries energy. This is the place in your chart where Cancer energy sits, where Capricorn energy sits, where Libra energy sits. For all of this to start moving forward again, for those of you who know your chart, you're going to need to pay attention to whatever the flashing light is on your dashboard right now. And this flashing light would have been here for some time. There would have been some level, as Chiron has moved through Aries the last couple of years, Yeah, I need to deal with this. Yeah, this is a problem with me. Yeah, I need to be accountable for this. Yes, this is not working in my life. Yes, I need to handle this. And the last several years with Chiron moving through Aries, this light bulb, this flashing, it's been on. If there hasn't been work on it up until this point, now that Chiron is at the mid degree of Aries, there can be a sense of life coming to a halt, life standing still, stagnation, feeling a bit like life isn't moving forward enough. So it's really important to have a look. Where is this Chiron seated in your chart? What house is Aries taking residence or covering in your chart? Because this Mars placement now is where you're going to start to feel like you've got your foot on the gas and your car is going nowhere. You're just flooding your engine with gasoline. And you'll be wondering, why is there not movement? And it's because you have not dealt with this particular area of life. And you're going to notice it now more than ever as Mars is speaking to Chiron. And next year, even more as Jupiter speaks to Chiron and expands, puts a nice big old spotlight on whatever Chiron is bringing up for you in your chart by transit. So if you want to have a look at that, again, great time to get a reading. And what we'll see happening around us in the collective is what people do when car is stalled on the highway, on the interstate, and they're like trying to get it to go and it's not moving. Do they get out and push it? Do they just ignore that this is happening? Are they trying to get people to go around them? Have they pulled over to the side? Are they getting mad at the people in the car and lashing out at them? There's the behaviors we're about to see from people or currently are seeing in collective energies is because Mars is a very outward energy, but with Chiron and Aries, there's a very inward needing to face the man, woman, person in the mirror. And when we are unwilling to face the person in the mirror, but there's an outward directed, outward motivated, outward pushing energy combined with an unwillingness to deal with self, I mean, I don't have to tell you what that looks like. You guys already know when people aren't willing to deal with their stuff, but they want to push it and project it all over the place. They're messy. We get messy. That's humans. We're messy. So, a lot of what we could be seeing at this time and the ways people are responding to things, a lot of blame shifting, a lot of projecting, a lot of, well, you need to change so that I can feel okay. We all know that doesn't work, right? Other people can't change so that we can feel good. We actually have to be accountable for what doesn't feel good. And if they can't change, it's okay to take 2 steps back, right? That kind of thing. So being accountable for our own experiences is what's really needed with this energy. And so there's a bit of that in here that has a flavor of mischief. There's a mischief energy to it. And some people may do something really entertaining with this energy as Venus and Uranus conjunct. A lot of astrologers, including my favorite astrology teacher, Nadia Shah, call when the Uranus-Venus conjunction annually the most surprising romantic day of the year. And I love this energy when Venus and Uranus come together. Romantic surprises are part of the plan. Windfalls of money, especially in the sign of Taurus, can certainly happen here. Money that kind of shows up out of nowhere and is money that you absolutely needed. There can be a vibration here of like surprise proposals that come with this, or for those of you who are children of the 80s, a la myself, there's this moment in this movie, I think it's called Say Anything, where this guy, like I think it's John Cusack, like shows up outside this girl's window with this huge boombox and plays her this amazing song. And it's like their moment of kind of recognition of what their connection is. And so all of these kinds of things can really happen with a Venus-Uranus conjunction here in the 3rd dimensional earth sign of Taurus. It's not surprises that are in communication. It's not an air sign, it is a third dimension sign. So exciting stuff. Now, Taurus is also the sign of self love, self respect, self esteem. And some of you, depending upon where Taurus sits in your chart, may be having an experience of like, you know, really wanting to just change something about your body as well. This is the kind of energy that causes people to who never got a tattoo in their whole life to get an entire tattoo sleeve on their arm. This is the kind of energy where people who had long hair suddenly chop it all off, or who have who've been maybe working on a weight loss situation, like they suddenly reveal it publicly, like, yes, and I have lost 50 pounds, admire my beach bod, whatever that is for them, right? So these kinds of energies, when, all working together synergistically, can bring forward, in many cases, very pleasant surprises that seem to have come out of nowhere in the third dimension to the body, to life. Know your chart, know where Taurus sits, so you know where this is taking place. But again, because under the light of this full moon, Neptune is having its way with the sun and the moon, our clarity makers. This could be a period of time where let me throw a few scenarios out there for you guys. Someone proposes, and then the other person is like, oh, I don't know. Don't take that the wrong way. Okay. Just give them the time to think through some things. I don't recommend public proposals right now. Propose privately if you can. But if you've already got it set up, trust your life. It's a fun energy. Trust your person, trust your life, trust the conversations you've already had. It does seem like it can be very magical at this time. There could also be an energy here, especially with the way Mars and Chiron are playing up, where it's like, there can be, if you have a love thing going on, it's like, I'd rather just drown myself in my love thing than deal with my me thing. So how about we do an us thing and I can forget about my problems? This kind of energy under this full moon can certainly have that going on, where it's like, surprise, I'm whisking you away for the weekend so that I do not have to deal with the fact that I need to declare bankruptcy next week, that kind of thing. Or so that I do not have to deal with the fact that, X, Y, and Z is a problem for me. I don't, whatever the problem could be. I don't know. I don't have a job, or I'm looking for a job, or my ambitions aren't working out for me in the way I thought they would. Let me just bury myself in this relationship instead of dealing with my issues. That kind of thing can play up with this combination here. So if that is if you're recognizing those thematics in your circumstance, by all means, take a deep breath, give it some space, give it some time. Clarity is coming. And certainly by now, with Chiron and Aries, as of, I think it was like 2019, 2018, by now, you know what the Chiron issue is you need to deal with. So have at it, like go deal with it if it hasn't already been in process. But I'd be super curious. You can comment below if you know what your Chiron and Aries issue has been, and what's been demanding your attention. Now, other energies we have going on here, because of the way Pluto and Mercury have been having a conversation. Mercury has been retrograde, then forward, and it crossed over and trined Pluto once already. This is a very powerful energy, and it marks a really important piece of this Mercury retrograde and is laying a lot of foundation for the Mars retrograde in the exact same place in the chart, later this year in the sign of Gemini. Both Pluto and Mars work together in the sign as governors of the sign of Scorpio. We have the South Node transiting through Scorpio, and we just had a set of lunar eclipses in Scorpio, in late degrees of Scorpio. What's fascinating to me about this energy, Mercury speaking to Pluto here, South Node here in Scorpio, Pluto being the ruler of Scorpio. For those of you who are my Scorpio loves, right? Especially those who are the late born Scorpios. These are the ones that were the November Scorpios specifically. The closer to Sagittarius, mid-November, the more I'm talking to you. For those of you at this time, especially because of the way Saturn has been squaring the nodes and also squaring your sun, and for all of us, this has been a season of revelation, a season of facing some really difficult truths, a season of understanding from a place of accountability and responsibility for our personal power. Saturn is accountability and responsibility. Personal power is Pluto. It's a season of recognizing why we are where we are in our worlds as Mercury brings illumination and clarity. This combo could not have been better planned for the Jupiter entrance into Aries and the tail end of the Venus retrograde as we started off the year, making a lot of things confusing for a lot of people in relationship. Now that Mercury retrograde, Mercury brings thoughts, mind, communication together, with the Mercury retrograde has been, having conversations with, hey, let's be accountable and responsible. Hey, let's deal with and look at our personal power and the way we're showing up in our circumstances. This whole conversation has brought some heavy hitting hard truths in the last 3 to 4 weeks. And some of these truths are really uncomfortable. These have been things that have been difficult to face, challenging to understand about ourselves, difficult to look at in our lives. And so this has been an energy of, in the South, the American South, we have a phrase called a come to Jesus moment. And that's a moment when essentially you and God are having a little powwow, and God is letting you know you're going to have to clean your ish up because I can't keep cleaning your ish up for you. In order for me to keep helping you, you got to stand in accountability here. You got to ask for the help, or you got to step up for yourself one way or the other. And so this illumination that would have happened, I would say this is the last 3 or 4 weeks during this Mercury retrograde, maybe 6 for some people, depending upon how sensitive you are to energy. This illumination is beautiful because it's happened alongside these eclipses on the Taurus Scorpio axis, and it's forcing you to change. Ready or not, like it or not, you cannot stay the same in an energy like this. And so it's been hard, yes, for some of you, especially my fixed signs, Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, Leo. I've spoken to you guys in session and you're like, oh my God, I am dying, Kay. What is happening? Why do I feel like the universe is slapping me with all of my problems? And I'm saying it's just because it's time to change. And the less you hold on, the easier this is going to be. The more you surrender, the easier this is going to be. A couple of years ago in 2020, I talked about these changes coming for fixed signs. There's a playlist on my channel with messages for each of the modes. If you're a fixed sign, have a listen to that, because I spoke about how this energy would play out and what you would need to do to get the most out of it. And this is the moment where if it's time to change, baby, let go. Let go. Life is already doing the work for you. It's a matter of letting go at this point and not trying to hold on to what was, because it is time to do a new thing. Okay. So all of that is going on. Mercury speaking with Pluto in this way and Saturn in this way is allowing us to step up to the plate when it comes to change and step into the new chapter of our lives with clarity. Even though Neptune is also speaking with this new moon energy, what I suspect is happening for most people is a degree of truths that need to be faced that you would rather not be true. And so if you're scratching your head, like, what is Kay on about? What I want you to write down is this question, and the answer is going to come when you're like, driving in the shower, some sort of meditative state, washing dishes, cleaning the house, what have you. But the question I want you to just posit to your subconscious mind and let your subconscious mind chew on is this: what's the uncomfortable truth here? What is the truth that I know that I would rather was not true? Hmm? What's true that I would rather have be false, that I would rather be untrue? If you can get your subconscious mind to start presenting to you that material about the uncomfortable truth here, you're going to be in great shape as this energy from the Sagittarius full moon shifts and moves into Cancer season. You'll be in great shape to take initiative to make some really deeply aligned choices from a place of emotional wholeness and integrity, because Cancer represents those two things. Sagittarius does represent truth, represents freedom, represents our higher ideals. And so that would be the discernment that's needed at this time. That would be you occupying Virgo energy. Virgo has no problem facing facts. In fact, Virgo would prefer all the facts. Give me more facts than I can handle so I can file them and categorize them. So if there is some facts of your world that have been a bit uncomfortable, this is the period of time in which you're going to start to notice those things become unignorable for you. And where you're trying to ignore them, then there's always Mars and Chiron saying, I'll help you let off steam. Let's project this onto somebody else. It's their fault. And I hate them. And they're liars and they're this. And let's force it all on them. Yeah, like I said, mischief and mayhem is in the air. Now, Jupiter is expanding some of this clarity, with Jupiter having a little conversation here with Mercury as well. The sextile is a wonderful energy. It's very supportive when you've got Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all having a conversation with Mercury. This is what has allowed this Mercury retrograde to be more about getting clarity, confirmation, and illumination than things going haywire. And so during this period of time, you may have noticed some, like I said, some clarity, some confirmation, some illumination in the last 6 weeks, as these three heavy hitters have locked into position with Mercury and begun to influence it. Jupiter has wanted to expand Mercury's clarity. Saturn here has wanted to provide Mercury with some grounded thinking, some thinking that is more clear and more precise. And Pluto has wanted to empower Mercury to deal with fears, challenges, painful places in our world, painful things in our world that we'd rather not have to deal with. Pluto's giving us the empowerment to be able to look in that direction and step up. And so the three of these acting on Mercury during this Mercury retrograde have really facilitated a lot of our personal empowerment in terms of, if we can think it, we can create it. If we can see it, we can become it. If we can name it, we can deal with it. And so again, if you're still scratching your head, it's okay. Chances are you're not scratching your head. It's just that there's something here that's true that you would rather not be true. And so if you can lean into surrendering to it and just let yourself say, if that's true, then I don't know what comes next. Source can take your hand from here and guide you in the direction meant for your life. Okay. And that's how to work with this energy. It's going to be a funny full moon. Whenever I see Jupiter and Mercury in conversation, it's funny because I'm really into comedy. And so I've looked at the charts of a lot of major comedians, and inside their charts, almost unilaterally, there is some conversation between Jupiter and Mercury. Most often it's a conjunction or a sextile or a trine, sometimes a square as well, or an opposition. But I think if you can find the humor in what's happening, and again, treat it a little bit like Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream, where there's, a bit of mischief, a bit of magic, a bit of love, a bit of loss, a bit of illumination, a bit of illusion, the whole shebang piled up together in one divine comedy. You'll be in a place to receive the information that's coming through objectively, without overly personalizing what's happening in your life, knowing that you're part of a much larger span of things about to happen. We're mid chapter, we're mid book. Don't throw the book out yet. There's more to come as we move into the next eclipse season. Thank you so much for liking, watching, subscribing, and sharing. For those of you who have subscribed and you're new here, welcome. I'm here at the new and the full moon to provide you with these updates. It is my pleasure and honor to do so. And if you know you need a reading, the best place to grab one is over at kmoonastro.com. We can have a look at where all this energy plays out in your chart so you understand how to leverage it in the months to come. Take great care and bye for now.